Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Parker Pod. On today's episode, I have Jonathan Simos. Jonathan is a personal trainer, and he's the founder of a company called New Exist. He's also the host of Excel Beyond Boundaries podcast. Now, his company New Exist focuses on holistic personal training. This type of personal training focuses on the mind, body, and spirit. So the program offers, exercises, nutrition, meditation, basically everything that someone needs to live a healthy and well-balanced lifestyle. Jonathan holds a few world records. There's a couple discrepancies that we'll get into in the episode, some like technical errors that he's been fighting and going through. But overall, I hope you guys enjoy the episode. What's up, John? How are you doing today, man?
Good. Thank you, Joe, for having me on today.
Dude, absolutely. Like I was telling you earlier, I was going through a lot of the stuff that you've been doing. And I initially want to start with, you're the founder of New Exist. Can you kind of give us a breakdown of what inspired you to do that? And also, what is the foundation of that and how do you apply it?
Yes, it is a wellness brand, and I'm actually in the launching stages now. So I'm finalizing things, and I'm going to be officially launching this brand by early December to be right in line for, the new year. But I actually came up with the idea when about 10 years ago, I was at a Starbucks in Los Angeles, and I'd been in the fitness industry as an athlete on the athletic side for a while, but not on the other side. And I knew that the industry had different gaps, different things missing, but I didn't know what it was. I couldn't quite pinpoint it. So then I spent the last decade basically jumping in headfirst into the other side of the industry as a personal trainer, coaching in nearly every group dynamic possible, from Orange Theory, F45, metabolic, functional training facilities, to get experience. And through that, I learned different things that the industry was lacking. And also with my own side as a lifetime drug-free athlete, I learned the hard way how to work out. I couldn't afford a personal trainer growing up, so I got many injuries and imbalances, and I eventually, part of my motivation for pursuing the credentials in the industry was also to fix myself because I had all those imbalances and injuries. So through my struggle overcoming, upper crotch syndrome, iliotibial band syndrome, all these little syndromes and imbalances, I found that passion for empowering others with fitness education. So that was the initial spur, and then seeing the other gaps in the industry as well. Oh, and then to answer your question about what it is. So I've realized that fitness is holistic in nature, and so you really can't separate it from your mental, the mental side, the lifestyle side. It's all holistic. Before I get into that, perfect example is in group fitness. We'd get someone, in one of those group fitness facilities that would come in, and their reason was always, to like lose weight or look better or feel better, which is a great reason, but that wasn't their fundamental why. That was just the superficial reason.
Mm-hmm.
Below that, once we figured out that fundamental why, it was always much deeper. They wanted the community, they wanted the camaraderie, they wanted the whole lifestyle, they wanted, to feel more confident. So it wasn't just that superficial reason. And so I saw that they oftentimes would get the physical in group fitness, but then they had to figure out the rest on their own. And so my brand is empowering people to take control of their health and wellness. So fitness education, but also the self-discovery side. Because if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want out of life, you don't know your values, your principles, all of that. So the mental side, the physical side, and also the lifestyle side, the nutritional side. So it's all components, 5 pillars, and integrated into a system. And I call it a wellness foundation. I say everyone needs to have a wellness foundation. So I help them create that.
So when you are initially bringing someone on, is your approach to kind of get where their mental state is at that point in time first before you kind of take them through the physical, or is that something that you work out during the physical portion of the training?
It's mostly hand in hand, because when you work out, it really does affect you mentally as well. Like exercises has been proven to be equally or more effective than antidepressants, for example. So, and also memory retention, mental clarity, all of that. So I provide education on movement patterns. So teaching them movement patterns, and then they get into the workouts while they do the self-discovery exercises and prompts. But each day within our program actually begins with the mental, with the mindset. So with the self-discovery, really digging deep, figuring out, who you are, strengths, weaknesses, where your heart lies, what your passion is, really digging deep. And then going from there, from the inside out, you transform.
Yeah, I noticed, like I was telling you earlier about my weight loss journey, when it was very superficial for me, when it was like, well, I want to look better because that's more attractive if you look better, it helped me to a certain extent. But at the end of my first month, I lost 15 pounds, which some people would be like, dude, like, why weren't you happy? But all the work I put in, I felt like I should have lost more. So I actually deleted every progress pic. I actually, the next day I was like, I'm not going to go outside. And then but I had scheduled in my day this gap for me to go outside and to run. And the one thing that actually kept me going was that my nephew had started working out and he was like on the bigger side, right? So like now it's no, dude, it's not just you anymore. It's also your family that is now working out. Your mom's starting to go on the treadmill. Your sister's starting to take the gym seriously. And now your nephew's starting to lose weight. Like you're not allowed to quit. Like now it's deeper than you just looking good or even just me being healthy. Because even me being healthy, right? There was a sense of maybe this is selfish, right? Because I'm taking time out of my day away from other people to do something for me. Is this a selfish thing that I'm doing? But when I saw the impact that it had on the lives of other people around me, and not saying like those people made those choices on their own, right? I'm not saying that that was something that, because of me, now they do this, but seeing that impact, what it had on them, helped me to go outside and help me to run again the same day. So I definitely think that that's something that, is very important to get out of people and to, have them realize that core why. Because when you have that core why, it's very hard to quit. Because superficial things, if you're like, now this dress looks good on me, I'm done. Or now, I hit that 20-pound mark,
Yeah,
now I'm done. There's these easy things that aren't continuous anymore. But when
absolutely.
it's continuous and when it's, you have to maintain it forever, that's when it becomes a lifestyle and not just a goal.
Definitely.
What would you say is one of the hardest things or one of the barriers that you had with coming up with that kind of curriculum for your program?
Well, first, I want to say your journey is very inspiring, and that's amazing that you inspired your family members to start being more active, and that's
Thank you.
that's amazing, really. Absolutely. The most challenging thing with the curriculum was, I would say, figuring out it's still evolving and
Yeah.
I'm still trying to improve it, but finding out how to provide the most value. I had to stop looking at it from a perspective of what I wanted to give out and more of what they need, what is going to be the most valuable to the consumer. So, trying to format that and then figure out how to integrate it to not be overwhelming. And so finally, I came up with it's 90 days forging their wellness foundation, broken up in 4 parts. The first is just a week called Forge Week, where it's their free trial. So anybody will have access to that. The prerequisites. And then once they finish that, the first actual month is called Intro to Fitness. So 30 days focusing on learning movement patterns, taking control of their health and wellness, the nutritional side. So they have the mental every day. They just take it one day at a time. They have their mental component where they read through, do the reflection, do the action prompt. Then the movement section, which is their workout of the day. And then halfway through that, the nutritional is layered in. So there's some nutritional education and then sample meal plan. Second month is going to be mindset mastery, focusing on the mental in the same format. And then the fourth section, which is technically the third month of the program, is the lifestyle side, the lifestyle integration. But yeah, it took a while to figure out how to not overwhelm people with that.
Yeah, because even looking at your Instagram, right? Like not saying that even like the program is overwhelming, but you do a lot of like abstract workouts, right? So like some people may even come in and they're like, is this guy going to have me hold, 2 dumbbells with one hand and start doing rows? Like, is that what I'm about to get into? So what's your plan to like communicate like, hey, this isn't going to be like, you're not going to be dead hanging with 300 pounds on a bar, or you're not going to be doing clean and jerks with chains on the bar, like anything like you know what I mean, like what is your method for communicating the simplicity and allowing people to be more open to it even though given the extreme abstract workouts that you do.
You're right. You're right. That might seem like I'm portraying a different picture with the training style as opposed to what I'm offering, but that's a good question. I probably should figure out how to play more into the simplified functional side of things, because the one of the components of my wellness brand is I provided a simplified way of functional training that's efficient, because that's one of the things the fitness industry lacks. You know, like CrossFit isn't for everyone. Strongman is amazing, but it's not for everyone either. But I do think it is actually one of the most well-rounded ways of training, aside from the lack of cardio. But anyways, every specialization has a weak area, and it's not for everyone. So I've created a simplified version of functional training that everyone can resort to as their home base, in a sense, between specializations. So I need to figure out a better way how to portray that. So it's actually that was a great question.
Was there a moment or like a conversation that you had with someone that sparked this idea, or has it been like a long journey of you just like thinking about
It's been a long journey. Began working out when I was about 13, 14, then lifting officially around 16, and learned through trial and error, as I mentioned, and started seeing the different ways of training. And I was intrigued. I had a powerlifting phase that I tried. I considered doing a bodybuilding phase, but never really got into it. Um, and so I had different phases. You know, I tried the obstacle course races, Ninja Warrior, Strongman, and they're all amazing. It's just preference. But I found that everyone needs to build that foundation first. And then what reinforced that was when I worked in group fitness, sometimes we'd get someone that was, straight off the street, no fitness education whatsoever. Like they did not know how to perform a squat or a deadlift, no movement literacy, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they shouldn't be jumping into group fitness. There was no in between. And so it was frustrating to see that these people wanted to, get into fitness and they didn't know how. And it was a beautiful thing that they had the confidence to jump into group fitness. Amazing thing. But in that group fitness environment, depending on the gym, oftentimes we didn't have time to teach them. And so they would end up, getting injured or getting a bad taste in their mouth about fitness, dropping off after a few months. And so there's such a gap in the industry. And so people need to take health and wellness into their own hands and have that foundation built. And then they can jump into, group fitness or do an obstacle course race with coworkers or train for a marathon because they have that solid foundation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What inspired you to do your own podcast? Was it because your podcast is, I'll plug it real quick, Excel Beyond Boundaries, right?
Yes.
So was that an idea to kind of boost this company that you're going to do, or was it just completely two separate things?
It's actually separate and together. So the motivation was I wanted a podcast to be a platform for people that had, an edge to share, in their industry, or even an everyday person who has a special message to share with us, with the world. But it was meant to be a part of the brand because it reinforces the whole ecosystem and the values and principles. It's all in alignment. So it is meant to be a part of the brand for sure.
Okay. What inspired you to do that? Like just like having people on or just sharing the edge, or was there like a specific thing that inspired you to start doing the podcast?
I would say it inspired me when I would hear people's fitness journeys. So it actually started out more geared towards fitness because everyone has such an inspiring fitness journey, like your own. And so I loved hearing these journeys. And it was so inspiring to other people to hear because it can be kind of lonely, going down your path, not realizing so many other people are on a parallel path. So it's nice to share that story to connect with others and feel that community. I'd say that was the main motivation was hearing people's fitness journeys. So the podcast started out mostly geared towards fitness. Like I would ask questions like like worst gym pet peeves and like favorite exercise and all that. But then it started getting into more just their own story and their own specialty, what they want to share, and then gearing it towards whatever their area of expertise is.
Yeah, and I think speaking to like people not wanting to be alone in their journey, I think group fitness, that's why a lot of people sign up for group fitness at first. right? Because a lot of people are like, well, there's going to be people there. I have a community, some people may be like, hey, Susan, where were you today? Like, you usually come to group fitness. Like, there's that accountability with it, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think that, I mean, for me, if I were to do that, that would be the reason that I would do it, is for the motivation, the moral support, and the accountability. Because I mean, right now I'm so accountable with myself. Like, if it's Sundays, I don't go to the gym, but if it's any other day that I don't go to the gym, my body and my mind are like, what are you doing? We go to the gym. What's happening? Even if it's like a family, like Thanksgiving, even if the gyms are closed, I'm going to be outside running. I'm going to be doing push-ups in the backyard. I'm going to be doing sit-ups in the backyard. I'm going to, whatever I have to do. Like, I'm still going to be working out. I actually remember one Christmas, it was like on a Wednesday, and I was like, I work out on Wednesdays. I don't care that it's Christmas. And I got up at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning to like work out, because I knew, opening presents in the morning, and then you
Yeah.
have family meals all day. So I was like, I know I got to get this done in the morning. So I'm going to get up, at a time
That's
I don't usually
amazing.
get up at, and I'm still going to work out. So, I mean, I'm at a point now where my accountability and myself is actually, some people are like, you maybe need to like give yourself a break from time to time. I won't do it, but
Man.
I do think that, people need that. They need a sense of community and a sense of belonging. And that's a huge part of the mental aspect of going to the gym, like seeing guys that, lift at the same time you lift, saying what's up, having someone to spot you, having someone to lift with if you guys were doing the same thing. Like, I think that's very important, because if it wasn't important for me, I would just do push-ups and sit-ups in my room all day. But I do think it's a huge part, belonging to a community.
That's true.
Yeah. You had mentioned that you were a drug-free athlete, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of talk right now about like testosterone. Some people talk about steroids. What's one way that you maintain optimal T levels without using TRT or testosterone or any kind of, drug?
Absolutely. Yeah, the industry, not to talk badly about it, because I have a lot of friends on, who have taken PEDs, and if they're in bodybuilding, that's a part of the industry. If they're, it's just so common today for whatever reasons. But I just don't like when teenagers are, influenced to take PEDs. And I saw this before I answered that question. I saw this years ago coming, because all the influencers were on social media were sort of showing unrealistic expectations and saying that they were natural when they weren't. And
Mm,
then, and of course, everybody is smarter than that. So, of course, 10 years later, then we start seeing in high schools all these kids on steroids and all these young teens, and it's not good for them at that age. My problem with it is when, kids take it. If someone's 30 years old, and they want to, nothing wrong with that. Or 25, or even 20. But under 20 is like, man, but anyways, to answer your question, I would say sleep is the number one thing. So getting a good night's rest, having a consistent circadian consistent sleep schedule. Number two would be getting in the lifting, heavy lifting. A lot of people don't get into lower rep ranges. So I saw this in group fitness a lot. People would stick with high reps, a lot of volume. They wouldn't ever lift a weight that was really that heavy. So they wouldn't lift a weight that was, within like a 8 to 10 rep range, or 6 to 8 rep range, or even 1 to 5. It was always like a weight they could do for 40 reps and they do like 20. Or, you
mm,
know what I mean? It was just too
yeah.
high volume, too lightweight. So lifting heavy, getting in that every rep range, 6 to 8, even 1 to 5, because it's neurological. And that kind of resets your nervous system, and makes your bones denser, all of that. So all rep ranges. And then on top of that, the cardio side, sprints boost growth hormone, testosterone immensely.
Mm,
So, some sprint work, it could be on a bike, all out for 30 seconds, then you rest, or interval training. So I recommend, with that being said, some kind of interval training at least once a week. A steady state day, which isn't gonna, help you hormonally, but it's good for that steady state, that work capacity, that endurance. So one steady state day, one interval day. If you can get a second interval day in, even better. Also, yeah, sleep, weight training, lifting heavy, the intervals. And then fourth, I would say diet, and then keeping your body fat preferably within a certain range because, too low is going to affect it, too high is going to affect it. So, that sweet spot. And then I would even say mentality too is just, I think the self-development side and really learning who you are, getting that confidence and feeling good about yourself and having that clarity, I think that affects testosterone levels too, because if you are not confident, you're going to feel, timid or scared or, you know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
directly affects you. Like if you, for example, win a competition, your testosterone levels like skyrocket. Or if you know what I mean? If they're affected by your mentality, then why would they not be affected by the opposite mentality? So I think all those things play a part.
When you say like optimal fat range, what would you say an optimal fat range would be? Because some people, that don't know like the effect that your body fat has on testosterone may be like, well, no, the lower the better, no matter how low it is, right? So what would you say is like a good like body fat percentage range for a male between like 25 and 35?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I just know the minimum. You don't want it to be generally below like I think it was like below 10%. It
Okay.
starts to get kind of level the region where it's affected. Of course, I'm sure there's exceptions. That's just rule of thumb, generally speaking. The high range, I'm not quite sure. I just remember it was somewhere around there from like roughly 10% to I'm not sure, maybe 15, maybe 20, I'm not quite sure. Then again,
Okay.
everyone's different. So
Yeah.
some people might be a little naturally leaner, some people might carry a little more body weight naturally. So yeah, everyone's so different.
Yeah, because there's three main builds. It's endomorph, mesomorph, and ectomorph, if I'm saying those all right. So endomorph is like, no matter how hard, yeah, could you get down to a very low body fat percentage? Sure, but your body doesn't naturally do that. And then mesomorph is like your natural athlete, like those people in, high school that are just shredded and they just walk around and they don't even go to the gym or anything. And you're like, okay, dude, like we get it. And then there's ectomorphs, which, being a bigger kid, I was super jealous of. My friends would just like eat Uncrustables and like tasty cakes and they're like skinny. And I'm like, dude, I can't even touch grapes because there's sugar in them and I'm going to blow up the moment that I eat a handful of grapes. So there's three like main type. And I think like each type has their own body fat range that they should be in. And I think that especially like modern medicine, like they generalize a lot of stuff, right?
Oh
Like
yeah, that's
a
true.
lot of things are generalized, like even at like, cause it's all about weight, right? So like your BMI, they're like, you're
Yeah,
obese. And I'm like, but you don't know that I have 125% of the muscle mass that I'm supposed to have. So
that's
like you're
true.
saying, like, I think my last like not body scan, but like if I were to do my BMI on like the current scale, I'm like morbidly obese. And I'm like, I don't like, there's no way that I'm
Oh yeah,
morbidly obese. Like, that's like if I don't train, if I don't lift, if I have
oh
the
yeah.
normal amount of muscle mass, like all that stuff.
It says that I'm obese too, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm like 185, like 5'11", and yeah, you can't go by that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely a lot of misconceptions in that. What's one way that you think people who are going by that, right? Who are like, via my doctor, I'm obese. I need to do some changes. What's one thing that you think that they can look at to measure themselves in terms of health?
I would say, of course, consult with doctors in regards to like if they're ready to exercise. But then after that, I would say as long as they feel good and they're doing what they can, that's the first step. And then learning to love their body, but knowing that you're probably capable of more than you think, because a lot of people have these self-imposed limitations. And but then with that being said, that's more so with in regards to activity. So I'm not talking about like body fat or weight or any of that. I would then say not to worry about weight as much and just focus on the exercise, the weekly lifting, the weekly cardio, learn to love it and integrate it into your lifestyle and incorporate the social side of it, like you were saying, the camaraderie, and just, make that a part of your lifestyle that you love. And then naturally, as a byproduct, they're going to get leaner and they're going to gain more muscle mass. And as they gain more lean muscle, they're going to boost their metabolic rate. So they're going to burn more calories at rest. And of course, the diet side as well. exercise is a keystone habit, so they're going to eat healthier. And then hopefully pursue education with exercise and nutrition to learn more. So I feel like it all comes together. But a lot of people get overwhelmed because they think like that's a lot to do. That's a lot all at once. But if they just take it one day at a time, it snowballs.
Yeah, and I think so. I used to be. I don't know if you know this, but I used to be a trainer at Crunch Fitness in Wesley. Are you in Florida? Are you
In
based
Florida,
in Florida?
I'm in
Yeah,
Sarasota.
Sarasota. Okay, so like I'm a little bit north. I'm in Wesley Chapel, which is like north of Tampa.
Nice.
I used to be a trainer at Crunch in Wesley Chapel, and one of the main things that I would tell most of my clients, right? Like some of them were just like, dude, I can function, but like I just want to lose weight, and those are the people that I would just like hammer like sled pushes, like hit workouts with them. And I would just like, also like we would weightlift as well, but like they could weightlift on their own, but I would hit like like high intensity training, cardio, stuff like that with them. But for the most part, I actually had like older clients. So like my thing to them was like, yeah, like being thinner is cool, but like I need to make sure that when you go to pick up your granddaughter that you don't throw your back out, or your kid that you don't throw your back out, or that,
Yeah.
if you fall, can you get up? Like genuinely, can you get up? And I had one lady that she wasn't like older, like she was like she was a mom, but she was younger and she had a hip issue. So when I did my initial consultation with her, I had her do like lunges, like step out lunges. Cause I didn't, I just wanted to see what her movement was like. Around like her sixth lunge, she was like, I literally, like, I have to stop. If I don't stop, like, I can't do this anymore. So then I had to have her on, what's it called? Not TRX bar or TRX,
The straps.
the
Cherry straps.
straps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I had to have her do lunges on the straps. So when she was doing her lunges, then it like felt better. But when she eventually left me, she was deadlifting 185.
No,
So like
but
she went from not even being able to get herself up off the ground to
wow,
like having like she could hinge a whole 185. She
that's
could,
amazing.
yeah.
Changed your
So
life.
like, yeah, so those are the things. Like our last session, I literally said to her, I was like, you just picked up 185 pounds off the ground. You remember when you couldn't even do a lunge? And she was like, well, yeah, because she was like the whole time entranced and just working out with me, and like didn't even realize like what we were doing at all until like the end where she could pick up 185 pounds. So like that to me was more important. But along that journey of getting leaner, she got healthier, she fixed an imbalance within herself, and her like hip wasn't, I don't want to say wasn't a problem anymore for her, but like, going from not even being able to lunge over to being able to completely do a hinge at 185 pounds is huge.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
I like that approach, right? Like I like yeah, you can get thinner, but like functionally, how is this going to affect your life? Right? Like I could have you do workouts that are going to make your quads big, but it may make your hip worse. It may make your knees worse, right? Or
Yeah.
can I help you live your life and have a better quality of life because of it? And I think that was a very important thing for me. And it sounds like that's something that you really want to, focus on in your program.
Oh yeah. I've always been more focused on the performance side, the functionality over the aesthetics for sure. I
Yeah.
agree.
What you said you started working out when you were like 13 and then got into lifting when you were 16. What made you want to switch from like just working out to like lifting specifically?
It was more access to a gym. I loved being active, and I would go on these runs when I was like 13, and I would
Mm-hmm.
like every once in a while. My older brother and I were kind of strange because he would do the same thing, and I'm not sure why we would do this, but we would just I would just go on a run as far as I could across the city, and on like a Saturday, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'd walk back, and it would take me like 5 hours,
Yeah.
and just the feeling to like explore and just it was very strange, but I loved running. So I ran a lot, and then as I got older, 13, 14, had a punching bag in the garage, a couple dumbbells, started messing around, but still mostly running. I would run everywhere. My neighborhood friends would ride bikes, and I would run next to them. But then 16, when I got my license, that's when I had access to a gym.
Mm.
So that was more so when I dove in with the weightlifting side.
Okay. And then did you ever like you said you did like some CrossFit, you then coached at group fitness classes. When did you kind of like start adapting into CrossFit with your training?
So I never actually got into CrossFit specifically. I
Okay.
always loved cross training, but I never
Yeah.
got into Olympic lifts. Now CrossFit's
Okay.
very like Olympic lift focused, and
Okay.
and I
You could have
never.
fooled me, dude, by looking at your profile. I thought you were into CrossFit. I mean, just the way you were like picking stuff up and lifting stuff around, doing your dead hang. Like I guess I don't have a full understanding of CrossFit then. I thought it was like kind of
Well,
like an aerobic calisthenic type of like lifting.
no, you do. And now CrossFit today resembles more functionality.
Yeah.
So I could see why you would think that. But CrossFit, when I first started, at that
Mm,
time, was mostly like Olympic lifts. And it was more so just, even today, some CrossFit gyms have this problem where it's just exercise and not training. So it's like
mm,
burning you out in a single session. It's like, wall ball, 400-meter run, as many rounds as you can. And that's not going to get them stronger. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so that's what I don't like about it. Some CrossFit gyms have good programming that is actual training, but I feel like it's kind of rare to find. And I never got into it because I personally don't like the integration every workout. So I don't like the weights and the cardio integrated because I feel like it took away from my strength. I'd rather separate the components and do my strength training and then my cardio training, and then occasionally bring it together as like a competition or like a you know conditioning day. But every workout with CrossFit seems to be like that metcon, that metabolic conditioning, rather
Mm-hmm.
than a strength focus, cardio focus. So that's why I never really liked it. That and the Olympic lifts. I never got into Olympic lifts. So my style of training was more cross training, where I loved lifting heavy, and then having a distance day where I'd run, steady state, working up to 5 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, and then I'd have like an interval day or like a speed work day. And so I had all rep ranges. Then I'd throw in maybe some climbing, rock climbing or obstacle course racing, Ninja Warrior. So kind of cross training in a different way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So can you explain for people that may not know what like steady state training is?
Yeah, so steady state. So there's different types of cardio. Steady state is going to be that zone two, where it's slow, steady conversation pace, and that's what is going to build your overall endurance and work capacity. So that's like jogging at a slow rate, working up to let's say 3 miles, 4 or 5 miles, just jogging at a steady state that you can have a conversation with a friend, working on that overall endurance. So you're using fat as fuel primarily. That's why you can pretty much do it for, I don't want to say forever. Um, Endurance typically comes down to using fat as fuel. So, like, I don't know how to put this right now. The uh, peak performance when it comes to cardio, the more efficient you are at using fat as fuel, the faster you can maintain a pace when it comes to endurance. But anyways, not to throw too much. Steady state is just slow, steady state to build that work capacity, that endurance. Everybody needs it. It'll help you have a lower resting heart rate, that cardiovascular benefit. But then on top of that, you don't just need steady state. That's the mistake a lot of runners do. A lot of people just do steady state all the time and they get really skinny and they don't look healthy or they run too much mileage every week. You also need the interval side for that active recovery. So, for example, if you take someone who just does distance running and you throw them in some intervals, it'll be so rough on them. It'll like damn near kill them because they're not used to having that high intensity and that short recovery. So, 30 seconds all out, 1 minute to recover actively, like a jog. So where you're sprinting as everything you have for 30 seconds, and then instead of stopping and walking, you're jogging to recover.
Hmm.
Or on a bike, same thing. So it's not all out and then stopping. It's all out and then active recovery. So intervals, very important. And then I would say you could even throw in a third type of cardio, which is more kind of medium distance, more of like a lactic threshold, running at a pace where it's challenging, like a mile, like mile repeats or
Mm-hmm.
3 miles as fast as you can. So yeah, the two types, possibly the third if you have time to get all the benefit. But bottom line, everyone needs to cross train. The marathon runner that lifts gets faster. The lifter who does cardio has better recovery. So everyone needs to cross train.
Yeah, I've heard a lot that if you're doing a cardio, you should do it after you lift. What's your opinion on that? Do you think that's good? Do you think it should be done separately, completely, or like same day, different day?
I've done a lot of both of those things, but I prefer, I would say what you want to focus on is what you want to do first. So if you're
Mm,
focusing on the lifting, you want to do the lifting first. Um, the times that I've reversed it, I've gotten better at that one. Most of my training career, I've focused on lifting first, and I've gotten much stronger. But then when I've reversed it, my cardio has gotten, that's where I've broken through with the cardio side. I would say you can have different phases. Focus on what you want to do first, what you want to focus on. But occasionally you can reverse that to break through a plateau, or you can even incorporate it on a weekly basis where sometimes you can do cardio after lifting, have a protein shake, have something to eat. An hour later, go do your cardio. So there's different energy systems. So to build on that, if you're doing like a heavy lifting day, you can do your sprints that day.
mm.
But I don't like doing them right after lifting. I would want to have some recovery, protein shake, and do sprints like later. But I wouldn't want to start with sprints and then lift. So yeah, it could work like that. But also, I wouldn't want to do heavy lifting and then steady state. You can, but then the rest of the week is kind of thrown off because then you kind of want to consolidate the stressors.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be doing heavy lifting, you might as well continue with that system and throw in those sprints. So then towards the end of the week, you can do higher reps, steady state. So you can have better recovery, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think, like, for me personally, right, like, one thing that I don't do well is optimize my recovery, right? So, in my mind, when you say condense your stressors, that's when I go, okay, if you want me to condense my stressors, then that's when I'm going to run the 5 miles. That's not when I'm going to run the sprints, because at least sprints for me, from a mental perspective, are fun.
Ah,
Looking at a 5 mile, that's a stressor. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but then again, like I have a different style of lifting. I lean more towards my warm-ups are like bodybuilding hypertrophy rep ranges, and then I go down to probably 1 to 4, 1 to 3 like rep range, like power lift
Wow.
after I do the hypertrophy. That's how
Dang. So you get all
those
rep ranges in the workout.
I'll do like my first set I'll do like 15, and my second set I'll try to do like 10, like 10 to 12. Pause reps if I can. If I'm not going for like a PR, I'll do pause reps to kind of get like that extra burn for hypertrophy. And then after that, I'll do like a minute and a half rest. And then I'll do like 3 sets at like 1 to 3, depending.
Man, that's good to
Yeah.
get all those rep ranges in.
Yeah. Yeah. But then after that, if you tell me now you have to go run 5 miles, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to be like, no.
No, no, but that's the thing is like the long distance runs, I would save for a day, mostly a day on themselves, like a Saturday
Yeah.
or Sunday when I'm not lifting,
Yeah.
preferably because I don't want to work out for 2 hours a day, the
No.
weights and then the cardio. So longer runs, I typically would save for a separate day.
Yeah. And I think one thing for me too, right, is like if I were to do that, I wouldn't have the mindset of let me keep myself at zone 2. I would go, how fast can I go? Because I want to get this done as soon as possible because I don't want to do this anymore. So I think like the science behind why I'm doing what I'm doing is something that I definitely need to work on. And I do think a lot of people need to work on because even when I go into lift, I go into lift with emotion, right? Like that's part of why I'm there. Part of why I'm there is like the mental clarity it gives me afterwards and the emotion it allows me to release, like when I'm lifting, when I'm running, when I'm doing, and then right after I feel better. Like no matter what was going on, I feel better right after. So I think a lot of it for me is just going away from the emotional mental aspect of it and moving toward a more science-based what's good for your recovery, what's good for you, physically. And but see, sometimes when I do what's good for me physically, mentally, it doesn't feel right for me because of where I'm at, right? Like someone goes, hey, you should only lift 4 days a week. right? Like that's like science, what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to look at you and go, you're insane. I'm not doing that. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, what's some advice from you to me with that? Like, how do you break through applying what is scientifically correct to a workout routine versus like what mentally and emotionally you feel is right?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I would say, first of all, everybody's different. Everyone has different muscle fiber compositions. Someone that's more slow twitch is not going to like lifting heavy as much, and they might recover faster. And someone that's more fast twitch is going to like more heavy lifting. You know what I mean? Like everyone's so different. Starting with the mentality side, there's a strength-based mentality and there's a endurance-based mentality. And I never knew this until more recently. And so I would apply my strength mentality to my cardio, and
Mm-hmm.
it was not good. So the strength based mentality is you're lifting, you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
You're lifting, the weight's heavy. That last rep, you have to grind it out. So you push harder. So you push harder under stress. Like you just fight. And but you can't apply that to cardio, because if you're doing steady state, you have to learn the opposite mentality, the endurance mentality, where it starts getting harder and you tone it back so you can keep going. So for years, I would just run as far as I could, as fast as I could, and I would just burn out, and it wasn't as effective. And so I had to learn to tweak my mentality for the situation. So endurance mentality, I'm going for a run. It's not sprints. I got to tone it back when it gets hard and not just fight it out and then burn out. Strength mentality, keep pushing. So yeah, different mentalities. The emotional side, I can relate to you. I would like kind of, the gym was my outlet, and I would channel everything into the gym. But cardio actually can be amazing too. The sprints, if you're on a bike, if you're running, you can go all out and kind of release that as well. And then with the steady state, it's almost therapeutic, where as long as you're not going too fast, you kind of get in your own head. And afterwards, you get that runner's high that it's almost like you just don't care about anything that was stressing you out. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, so the steady state can be very therapeutic as well.
Yeah. And that's tying in everything you said, right? With like how endurance runners, they can't really sprint. And what we just said with like endurance mentality is different than a strength mentality. Have you ever watched like marathon runners like at the finish line? And I'm like standing there and I'm like, why aren't you sprinting? You're in third or fourth place. Why don't I see your head going down? Why don't I see
Yeah,
you sprinting through the finish line? Why are you still at a jogging pace? What's going on? Like, because in my strength mindset, right, I'm like, no, that last little bit, you're in third place, bro. There's the guy is 10 feet and 5 feet in front of you. Why? And not saying I could run a marathon right now, I can't, right? But I'm in my head, I'm like,
yeah, I know what you
why are
mean.
you not putting your head down and booking it to the finish line? Why
Yeah,
aren't you finishing like that last rep, right? Why are you not pushing through as hard as you can? And I think, like you said, it's just they get burnt out. People who train like that get burnt out because they don't train like that. And also the endurance mentality is just different than the strength mentality.
yeah,
And, I can't judge marathon runners because one dude I just watched, I think he beat the world record. It was like a
I just saw
under
that.
under 2 hours. He ran a
Yeah,
marathon in under 2 hours, which is insane. But I'm
insane.
sitting there, I'm like, dude, you could have set a better world record. And it's like, you ever see like the thing where it's like a guy on the couch eating chips and ice cream, and someone like drops a pass. He's like, dude, that was an easy pass. How could you drop that? And it's like, dude, that's a world class athlete. What are you talking about? Like,
No, I know what you mean.
that is literally how I felt right after, when I was like, dude, why didn't you sprint? Why didn't you set a
Yeah,
better world record? What are you doing?
ultimately, we can't
Immediately
judge.
immediately caught myself, right? Like, dude, 2 hours,
It's insane.
you'd be like, I don't even know, halfway through at 2 hours. Like,
Man,
why are you even judging this dude right now?
man.
And it wasn't even, I don't even want to say, maybe it was a judge, right? But it wasn't even really a judge. It was more like my mentality is different than his mentality. So I didn't get why he was doing what he was doing. And I think
Yeah,
that's what, like, also what I really like about your program, right? Like, everyone's mentality is different. So how can you reach as many people as possible? Because you can't reach everyone with powerlifting, and you can't reach everyone with bodybuilding, and you can't reach everyone with even strength training. Because you mentioned strength training to, someone that wants to look sleeker, right? And their immediate thought is, well, I'm going to look bulky. I don't want to look bulky. That was a
Yeah,
lot of that was a lot of feedback that I got. Why are we doing strength training, Joe? I want to be thin. I don't want to be bulky. And I was like, well, I hope you don't pay me to watch you be on the treadmill. Like that's not what I'm here for. So like we're going to get strength training in. And also I would, communicate to them that the more muscle mass you have in your body, the higher your BMR is, the more body fat you burn at rest, the easier it is for your muscles, ligaments, and bones to operate in your body. Like those are very, very important things. But it was hard. It was like hard to sell strength training to people. And
crazy.
because of my own experience, right? When my own experience doesn't align with someone else's experience, I have to take a moment to be like, they're not you, dude. Like, yeah, they want to go on the treadmill for an hour, but if someone said you got to go on the treadmill for an hour, I'm like, dude, can I just lift? Why do I have to go on the treadmill for an hour? I don't want to do that. But some people were, scared. It was a whole new world for them, and dude, that's what I really like about your program. It's meeting people where they're at, and it's giving a broad introduction, and then from there, once you discover who they are, you can then branch off into kind of whatever area they.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so that's really cool, man. One thing we haven't touched on yet, I mean, you and I talked about it beforehand, but 2 world records. But we also talked about some things that are happening with that. So do you want to explain to everyone, the 2 world records that you set, and then also, kind of what's going on with each of them?
Yeah, no, definitely. So the first one, I was doing research and I saw that there was a 100-pound dead hang record, which was titled as longest duration with a 100-pound pack, longest duration in the dead hang position with a 100-pound pack. I saw there was another record for the same thing with a 200-pound pack. So then you can either try to break an existing record or you can apply for a new record. So I applied for a new record and I was like, can I do the same thing with 300 pounds? And Guinness said no. At first, they said they don't monitor over 200 pounds. And I was like why? That doesn't make sense. And so it
Yeah.
was back and forth. I was like, but I can do it. And so then they came back around and they said, okay. But they said it had to be titled as heaviest weighted dead hang. No, I'm sorry. Heaviest weight lifted while suspended in the dead hang position. And so I thought to myself, that's kind of weird, but okay. So then I was like, how long do I have to hang for? And they told me 30 seconds to a minute. So I was like, okay, it's kind of vague, but I'll go for it. So then I went for the record, did the 300 pounds for a minute, 4 seconds, got the Guinness World Record, the plaque and all that. I was so excited. And I had it for about 6 months. And then I came around recently to find out the guy with the 100 and 200-pound record, who's actually an older Italian gentleman, I think he's in his 60s,
Yeah.
which is good for him. Awesome
Yeah.
that he's breaking these records. But came around that he broke my record. So I thought to myself, did he, how much weight did he hold for how long? So then I came to find out that the title that Guinness changed my record to, I don't know how they set the rules, but they told me I had to hang for 30 seconds to a minute. But then apparently that title, there's no minimum. So the guy that broke my record held 365 for I don't know how long, maybe 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. So he didn't get the record under the same conditions, which I'm all for someone breaking my record. Records are meant to be broken, but yes, under the same rules. So that kind of irritated me. I was like, wait a second. If, I've hung with 405 before, I was like, I can hang with more. If I did 300 for a minute, of course I could do more weight for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I have to come back around and get that back under their updated rules. The
Yeah.
second one is pending. So it's not official. I don't have it yet, but as long as they approve the evidence I submitted, I should have it. But of course, you never know. So I have to, if they say no, if they say, I didn't have enough range of motion or whatever, I'll just reattempt it. But it was most weight rowed with dumbbell rows in 1 minute. So it's the weight times the reps. So
Okay.
the previous record holder, or I'll say current, since I don't have the record yet, is a Russian guy from 2024, or I think it was like 2020.
Okay.
But anyways, he did a 100-pound dumbbell for 48 reps. And so I chose to do a 95-pound dumbbell or 90-pound dumbbell. I can't remember. This was a few months ago. I think it was a 90-pound dumbbell for 50, and I got 58 reps. So I should have the record, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
So those things, they don't have someone there that's like making sure every rep's good, or did they? Or do you
I
just send a
would
video?
So they have, if you pay for it, you can have I forgot the word. It's like an adjunctor or something, Guinness,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
is basically a Guinness judge that comes out and watches you and gives you the yes or no on the spot. But with that, it's like 10 grand. So yeah, that's how they make their money. Or if I do the expedited, where they review your evidence right away, it's $800. So the free route, which I did it entirely free for existing records, it takes months. You submit it, you hear back within a couple months, you get approved eventually to try the record, then you submit your evidence, then you wait another 2 or 3 months before they even review it. So long process. What was I going to say? New record application is only $5. So if you
Okay.
create a new record in your application, it's like $5, but same process. It takes forever. Long waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely having to send someone out for $10,000 and judge on the spot. I mean, I guess you get the instant gratification, right? But like for 10 grand, I mean, that seems, I'm sure they have their reasons, but that seems pretty steep to me, right? Like, I'll pay for the dude's flight. What are we talking about? Like 10 grand for me to have him come out here? Like, I don't know. That seems a little wild, but dude, good for you, man. For
Thank you.
not only achieving these things, but also even looking into attempting them, right? Because knowing what you're capable of and knowing that you can do it at such a high level as well. And then, even thinking to yourself, wait, is this a world record? Like, could I break the world record right now? And then looking it up, creating your own world record too, right? Like heaviest dead hang. I mean, dude, there's gotta be something you could do to like talk to them and be like, hey, look, like I'll do 455 right now. Or I'll do like what do you want me to do? Like yeah.
Yeah, I've got to resubmit that evidence, but it's like it's a lot to coordinate to schedule a
Yeah.
day, and I have to have two people who are timekeepers, two people who are witnesses with a background in athletic. Their evidence checklist is kind of extensive. You have to
Yeah.
have like, depending on the record, slow motion or just regular video, different angles,
Yeah.
uncut. You have to weigh before and after. So it's a lot to schedule and plan.
So does your weight matter in those instances? Like if you are no, so like if you're
No,
like
no.
220 or if you're 185, it's just the pack weight. That's all that you have to hold.
Yeah, that's actually why I chose those records because it was more, well, the dumbbell row didn't matter, but the dead hang, because the heavier, the harder it would be for someone. So I was
Yeah,
trying to choose records that were in my area, my strength, which is like strength to weight ratio. So yeah, anybody like strongman can come along and go for that.
just hold himself and then he's yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's the weight, not the total weight with body weight. So it's the weight
Yeah.
that I had attached to my body.
Yeah, no, but if it was total weight, right? Like a
Oh
strong man
yeah,
could just
yeah,
like
that's true.
hold himself on the bar for 5 seconds and then he's yeah.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right,
Yeah. Um yeah,
man.
those are very interesting, and it kind of ties into like your overall training too. Like not that they're abstract records, right? Because obviously there's record holders before that. But like most weight lifted with a single dumbbell in a minute, like that's like an abstract cross training endurance mixed with strength, mixed with, you know, consistency, mixed with all that. And the dead hang, dude. I mean, I dead hang my body weight for a minute, and
That's
that was
good.
not a 300-pound pack on me at all. So I know I know the stress you went under to train for that. Yeah, man, that's really cool. So do you plan on fighting that 300-pound 365 discrepancy with them? Like, when do you plan on writing to
Yeah.
them?
Well, actually, I wrote immediately upon finding out. I messaged them, and it took a little while to hear back. They told me, I submitted the snapshots of the conversations and other chats, other record
Yeah.
applications,
Yeah.
and they ultimately said, just resubmit the evidence, like about a 5 second minimum, and so it's just a matter of setting it up. So I'll do it soon. I want to be at my peak.
Yeah.
So maybe a couple months I'll do it and get that record back. But like I was saying, records are meant to be broken. So I guarantee some, strongman is going to come along. And if I do get that dumbbell record, I may only have it for a short period of time before some strongman comes along and demolishes that. You never know. They're meant to be broken. And I'm just trying to inspire others to realize they're more capable than they think.
Yeah. You had said in one of your posts that I read that I think it was the dead hang record that this gave you some sort of like, I'm trying to think of the word, like it gave you credibility, right, in your field. Like, I'm not just saying these things, like, here's them put into action. So can you kind of talk about like what it meant for you, not just like record wise, but like business wise, the confidence that you had in yourself as a trainer, the confidence that others had in you as a trainer following you getting that world record?
Oh yeah. So it didn't. It's kind of funny because I thought it was going to be more influential, but ultimately I learned that you have to do it for yourself because most people don't really care, and which is an amazing thing to realize. We just have to do things for ourselves because ultimately the world is focused on their own path, their own journey, their own challenges, their own obstacles. So we have to do things for ourselves. But on the other side, I am glad I did it, not only for myself, because it did inspire, some people, and it did provide credibility for me to leverage. So it was like a tool that I could use.
Yeah.
But that's about it. It's more just to inspire and try to set myself apart in the industry, especially being, I'm trying to set myself apart performance wise, being a drug free athlete because there's so many high performers on PEDs. It's so rare to have someone performing on a certain level that's not, taking something. So I'm trying to show people they're capable of more than they think, even drug free, that they don't need that stuff.
Yeah. One of the things about being drug free that you had mentioned too that I did want to touch on, I had forgot previously, was the sleep, right? A, is there anything wrong with taking like melatonin to help you sleep, or any kind of like nighttime, not like Advil PM, right? But like any kind of like nighttime supplement that would be beneficial for someone to take before they go to bed to help increase that REM sleep? Because I have a problem personally with REM sleep. If I get like too hot, I'll wake up and then I'll turn myself over, cold side of the pillow, you know, cool myself off, or I'll wake up from a noise, or I'll wake up from, whatever. But I also heard that like melatonin isn't great for like your system, like especially some people get like addicted to it, right? So like I want to know if there's anything that, maybe not that you recommend, because I don't know if you want to recommend a supplement, but anything that you take or that you personally have taken that has helped you.
I don't personally know if I don't know if there's anything wrong with melatonin. I don't see anything wrong with some supplements here and there. Just and more so against the hormonal side, because
Yeah.
for different reasons. But I never really got into supplements too often.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But I do know some teas can be very powerful. You got to
Yeah.
try Greek mountain tea. Is
Greek mountain
amazing.
tea.
Oh,
I'll
it's
write that down.
amazing. It's
All right, that.
the Sideritis plant. It's from the mountains in Greece. That stuff, when you drink it, it makes you feel so chill.
Okay. Greek mountain tea.
It's amazing. Add some lemon and honey in that, or just honey, and like favorite tea. So
Yeah.
good. You feel so chill, and if you look it up, there's all kinds of health benefits.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I used to. It's funny you say that now. Now I remember my mom, whenever I was younger and I couldn't go to sleep, she'd always like make me tea to like knock me out. And
Really?
I don't know if it was Greek mountain tea, but I knew she gave me tea to like put me to bed.
Huh. It's powerful
Which is
stuff.
weird because I always thought tea had caffeine in it. So like
Some,
if, yeah.
yeah, like black tea. A lot of tea has caffeine, but then some is caffeine free.
Okay. So it's just a caffeine free one,
Oh
obviously,
yeah,
right? If you're using it before bed. Okay.
yeah, caffeine free. Like green tea has caffeine, white tea, black tea, but yeah, chamomile's caffeine free. Greek mountain tea is caffeine free for
Okay.
sure.
All right. Yeah. I just because I've always wanted to take like melatonin to help me sleep, but then sleep for 15 hours, which I just can't do with my current job and this and working out, and like, that whole day is now gone, right?
Yeah,
And I mean, I just heard like some people like they would do 3 milligrams, then it wouldn't work, 6 milligrams, and then 9, 12, 15, and then it just got to a point where they like could not fall asleep without it. So that was just one thing that I was like kind of like wary about, taking it myself. I just wanted to see if you had any insight regarding it.
I'm not
Because that's
sure.
one area I do lack, right? Like I eat whole foods. I have a pretty clean diet except for like some weekends. If I go to, football Sunday, go to like sports bar, have wings, have,
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with balance.
yeah. But other than that, like everything's pretty solid. Working out hour and a half a day. But my sleep is just one thing that I just, for some reason, just can't get under wraps. So do you have any tips other than tea to like help people fall asleep? Because this is like for me personally. This is if someone's listening, they can, they can use it.
Do you have like a consistent time that you get up and go to bed every night, or is it kind of random?
It's kind of random because one time I was very strict with it. I'm not gonna lie. But then it was like if people like needed me for something or for some reason, right, then I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And I just found that I was like very cut off if like people wanted to like, oh, like we want to play a card game after dinner, but well, I'm going to bed, so like you guys have fun with your card game. You know what I mean? Like I was just so I kind of became a little bit more loose with it. And I'm probably more loose than I should be. But I typically get up at like 8:30, regardless of when I go to bed. I'll get up at 8:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what time do you normally go to bed? I feel like you're a night owl.
Oh, for sure. I would say on most nights between 11 midnight, most
Okay.
nights. So I'm getting that full hour, like the full 8 hours. Sometimes it's 12, if it's a Saturday, I'm at a concert or an event, probably like 12:30, 1 o'clock by the time I get home and relax, right? But I typically get the full 8 hours. But I do find that when I go to bed at 11, I'll wake up at 7 and I'll feel better for the rest of the day.
Yeah, yeah. I read something sometime that of course the consistency helps. So you don't have to go to bed at the exact hour every night, but within a range, going to bed within that range and getting up with the range. But also I read something else about getting to bed earlier, how something about quality of sleep where if you get to bed, I think before 10. Don't quote me on this. I have to ask AI or research it, but something about how you have better quality of sleep or something. So maybe going to bed so late is
Mm,
affecting your quality of sleep, and then also screen time too. Having that, yeah, if you're looking at a screen right before bed, that can
yeah,
affect you too.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense because a lot of times I'll be here editing and then I just get up from here and go right over to my bed and go to bed. And then I'm like staring at the ceiling, not
Yeah,
being able to go to bed. So that actually makes a lot of sense. So I think maybe that's one thing that I got to do is just, you know, stop using the screen so much. So that's
yeah.
something that I'm going to definitely implement. I used to have blue light glasses. I don't know. Do you know much about them? Like if they help a lot?
I always wonder if they really do help. I looked into it myself. But I don't know. I don't know. I read that they do. I read that they don't. So I'm not even sure.
Okay. Yeah. I do think it's like to a point like if you're looking at a screen for like 12 hours before you go to bed, like you're probably cooked if you have them on or not, right? But like if it's like, checking your phone before you go to bed and then you take your blue light glasses off, I think that minimizes it a little bit, but I
Maybe.
mean, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's if you're looking at it for 12 hours a day, it's better to wear them. I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm definitely gonna research these things
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah. What's your main motivation going forward?
I just want to become the best version of myself, and within that, I want to inspire others to do the same. To break down any limitations that they have, because we have, like I mentioned before, these self-imposed limitations, where we think we're you know only good enough for something or only capable of something, and we're capable of so much more than we know. I used to think that it was stupid that when I started looking into the Guinness records, I was thinking, yeah, right, or
Yeah.
but then my training, I kept pushing and training like my life depended on it. And I saw that I wasn't that far off. The more I researched different records, I was like, I think I could do that. And then same thing with different types of competitions. Like I jumped into my first strongman competition with no experience. I just thought, I like to lift heavy. Why not? And so my point is that if we don't limit ourselves, we can then see what we're capable of. Let the evidence speak for itself to let you know where you are currently, and not let that be where you are permanently. You know what I mean? That's just temporary, because you'll soon be at another level.
Yeah. And you always have the power to change even your zip code where you live.
Yeah,
where what you're doing, your job,
yeah,
your anything. And I think a lot of people that I've met, they're very solely focused on, some people's career is very important to them, right? But like if you lose your career, you'll find a way if you don't fall into that pit of despair, right? Like you'll find a way. You'll find a different job. And the quicker you get back on the horse, right? The quicker you turn yourself around, the faster the compounds afterwards will start, right? So I mean, it's easy to sit and be sad about it, and I do think that there's a time and a place for it. But me personally, I would much rather get to a point where I'm like, wow, I can't believe that happened to me. Thank God I'm here now. Now I'm gonna think about it rather than like think about it for a few days because I lost my job or because something bad happened, right?
yeah,
Because you could
exactly.
still deal with it, but you can deal with it at a time after you've recovered yourself. And maybe that's just my way of thinking, right? Maybe that's not even the right way of thinking, but it's just how I've gotten through stuff my whole life.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to just to reflect and then just move forward, basically. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying move forward, then reflect.
Okay.
So it's like okay, lost my job. How do I find another one? Okay, great, found another one. Man, I can't believe I lost that job.
I see, I see. No, that makes more sense because then you keep the momentum going
Yeah.
and then you take a minute to reflect when you're not in emergency mode.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
like when it's not emergency mode, then yes, reflect and then move forward. But when it's emergency mode, like for some reason I flip a different switch. Like I'm like, okay, gotta get this, gotta get that, gotta fix this, gotta fix that. Okay, all right, now I got all this. Wait, what happened back there? Now I gotta think about what happened. Now I gotta reflect.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that you reflect because a lot of people might not even take time to do that, but that's so important.
yeah. Like taking a chance on yourself, right? Like if you take a chance on yourself and you celebrate taking a chance on yourself immediately, then you already have the dopamine of taking a chance on yourself. And then the next day you're like, wow, now I gotta fill out my LLC form. Now I gotta find a business. Wait, what am I gonna sell? I don't even know what I'm gonna sell. And then rather than like, okay, I'm done. XYZ. Wow, I took a chance on myself.
That's true. No, I like that mentality. It's very it's the right order in my opinion as well. Instead
Yeah.
of falling into despair
Yeah.
and then trying to take action, you just take an immediate action. And then when you're in a better headspace, reflecting.
Yeah.
I like that.
And it's kind of a defense mechanism because I've done the opposite before. Right? Like it's an emotional defense mechanism, right? Cuz like I know what it's like to be in the pit of despair and then try to pull myself out of it, but it's just so much easier for me to just keep going and then look back and reflect.
Yeah, no, that's great
Um
advice.
you said you're starting in December, right? That's
Yeah,
when you're opening it up.
I'm
Are
gonna
you
be
taking
launching.
like pre-applications or anything like that? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked because I'd love for you to run through and tell me what you think.
Okay.
I'll have to send you the link to get in for free. I'm trying to get reviews and testimonials that I could use for the ad campaign when the time comes. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you think for sure.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I'll take a look at it. Yeah. I
Nice.
would love to do that. Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I did see you mention that you just your first 100 members, foundational members. Are you still
Yeah.
doing that?
Oh yeah, no, I am. We're
Yeah,
up
okay.
to let me check for you. I think how many members are we up to? Up to 46, I believe.
40.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put it as 100, but because that's a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
46
So
members.
okay, so you're doing this all online then? Like the whole thing is an online program.
Oh yeah, online experience.
Okay.
There is engagement though, so there's going to be an onboarding call for each person for the system. Then it's all automated, and then there's going to be like the high ticket product, which is the one-on-one engagement
Okay.
called the empowerment system. But I'm still finalizing the details on that one.
Okay. That's awesome, man. So your
Thank you.
next step then is to like launch it in December. Fully launch high ticket and low ticket or just like the lower end of it or
No,
December's full thing.
I want to do the full thing. So I'm trying to finalize the low ticket, which is the course, the Forge Your Wellness Foundation, because it's pretty much done. It's just a matter of moving some things around, refining some things, and then I have to figure out the structure of the high ticket and make sure I have the right people in the right places. But it I need to have it done by December. Let's say that I
Yeah.
want and need are often different. I need to
Yeah.
have it done by December.
Okay. All right, man. Where's one place that people listening can go to check out your program or to sign up for your program?
They can go to the website is currently being redone, but they can go to the Instagram, which is Neuexist, Neuxist, or my Instagram, which is Jonathan.Simos, Jonathan.Simos. And yeah, I'd love to introduce more people to the system.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it sounds like a great, I was going to say great intro, but not even a great intro. Even someone who has experience but maybe not know where to go or may not even know that they have imbalances in their form or their diet or the holistic lifestyle that should be fitness, right? Like someone may go to the gym all the time, but their nutrition's out of whack or their sleep schedule's out of whack. And,
Yeah,
those are things that they don't take into account. Like me, I didn't take my sleep into account for a while. And I'm like, well, I'm hitting the gym hard every day. I'm eating well every day. I'm drinking my gallon of water every day. My sleep doesn't have to be 8 hours or perfect or whatever. I'll be fine. And that's just simply not the case at all. That I found out recently, and now having you on have found, it's definitely a part to even the testosterone levels in my system. But yeah, man, I really think that this is going to be successful, and I would love to take a look at, your onboarding process and your program. And I think, that'd be awesome, man.
thank you, Joe.
Um, yeah. Do you have any final words for anyone that's listening right now?
No, no. All I wanted to say is I appreciate you having me on. This has been awesome.
Oh yeah, dude.
I really enjoyed this
Absolutely.
conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I appreciated having you on. I appreciated you coming on and sharing your story and sharing all the information that you had. And, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this program can do, not just for other people, but for you as well. And I hope it's a huge success.
Thank you, Joe. That means a lot.
Absolutely. And for everyone out there listening, we are on Spotify and YouTube at the Parker Pod, no spaces. And then I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts get posted on my YouTube channel as well. And as always, stay blessed.